everyone, Mike Eccles here. I'm finally here sending you a video for the Com-101-006 and the Com-101-009. Now, I hope you got your course outlines. Just want to go a little bit about those. Pretty cut and dry, the assignments. Of course, if you look at the major assignments, you're going to get plenty of time, heads up of when we're going to start it. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do, especially for the research papers coming up in a couple of weeks. You'll get a full study guide for your midterm, and then, of course, as we get ready for the final exam, and some of the other assignments, you'll always be prepared for them. I will never just thrust something at you. But I'm going to try and do this here once or twice a week, doing videos from here in my office, especially because it's my new office, as I'm the chair of the communication department, and I got this beautiful whiteboard right behind me, which is going to be extremely helpful. And then I'm using a Chromebook, which I might also use to put here to show videos and stuff. It's going to be a little difficult. I'm not crazy about this class being online. I'm really not. But, as they say, it is what it is. So, we'll go with that. And as you can see, since I'm in the building, I've got my mask on, and I got being U.S. Marine. But we can take it down for now since I have the door closed. But one of the things I do want to tell you about this class is we do cover the history, and we're going to focus primarily on the history of each of the mass media. And it's kind of difficult to talk about what's going on today, because if there's one thing about this particular subject matter, mass media, mass communication, it is constantly changing. I mean, it is unbelievable how much it has changed over just the last 5 years alone. 5 years, how about the last year and a half since the lockdown with the pandemic began? To give you an example on how the landscape was changing, I still remember one of the last lessons I taught in the spring of 2020. It was the first week of March. A new article had come out, and we were talking about it in class, that Netflix was actually losing subscribers. Yes, Netflix was losing subscribers, and then all of a sudden, bam, we all got hit with the lockdown. And once we got hit with the lockdown, then all of a sudden, everybody was trying to get Netflix. Like, people who had never even thought of getting Netflix before were subscribing to it because, well, we're all locked down, we can't go to work, we can't go to this, we can't go to that. Let's watch something. And of course, everybody was binge watching everything. And then all of a sudden on your social media by early mid-April, anybody got a suggestion of what to binge watch? I've watched everything. So suddenly Netflix was saved, and of course ended up gaining hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of new subscribers thanks to the pandemic. But it's just a total change in the landscape. Music, sound recordings, the way that recordings are sold, the way that we listen to them, just so much change in just the last 10 or 15 years, especially with digital downloads and that kind of thing, and with streaming services. So we'll get into those, but it's so hard to do because, to be perfectly honest with you, I've been teaching this course now for a little over 20 years. It seems that every time we get a new textbook, brand new, by the time you get it in your hands, 30% of it's already outdated, because so much has changed since the printing of that textbook. So we'll use the textbook, and you see the title of the textbook on your course outline. Please get the online version. It is the absolute cheapest version of the book to get. Make sure you get. Now, if you can get it cheap, like buying from Amazon or something like that, because I know if you come on campus to our bookstore, it's going to cost you like $150 or something like that. Trust me, I have nothing to do with the price of this book, and I don't get a dime. Neither does Professor Hemstreet, who teaches the other mass comm class. But I do encourage the online version because it's a much more inexpensive version of the textbook. So now what I want you to do in the next day or so, get the book, and I want you to read over Chapter 1, because I got a really good lesson coming to you on Thursday that deals with Chapter 1, because it's basically about how networks were formed and what the networks are. And it's not so much networks, it's media conglomerates. I mean, we went from CBS, the television network being CBS, to suddenly being owned by a conglomerate called Viacom. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you know that ABC, the television network, is also owned by something called, what is that called again? Oh, Disney Corporation. Okay, these are major corporations that own all kinds of different companies that deal with mass media, whether it's in television, whether it's in the moving pictures or movies, whether it's in sound recordings, whether it's radio, television. I mean, it's just unbelievable when these huge conglomerates. But I got a list to show you about television and something that's one of the few very popular programs in network television that's still left. And we'll talk to you about it come Thursday. So, go get the book. Oh, by the way, hopefully all of you have been able to get out of this whole aftermath of Ida. I had mentioned to you guys in the email today, my parents live in Lyndhurst. That's where I grew up. I'm a Lyndhurst guy. And my parents are still there, and just on the side of their house, usually there's 2 or 3 garbage cans that go there when it's garbage time. It's all the way down the block, people. Just all the stuff that they had in their basement that they lost. And I know some people, I saw this, I don't know if this was in Fairfield or someplace closer to Lyndhurst, where not only did people's basements, but their first floor of their house got flooded out. That's how high the water had risen. It was such a shame. Such a shame. So I really hope that you're getting out of that aftermath. Your family is hopefully going to get some help from FEMA and get things together and hopefully be able to put your focus on whether it's work, whether it's school, or especially whether it's family. Okay? And I will see you on Thursday, and we're going to talk a great lesson about Chapter 1. All right, so we'll see you guys then.